Good. So you're marching here today, supporting Pride.
Certainly are.
Got anything to say to the LGBTQI community?
Absolutely, just to let them know we're here for you guys too. It's fantastic to be here today.
Awesome. What's happening here? Ask for Rainbow Police diversity liaisons. It's all very inclusive, isn't it?
We're ready for New Zealand to be more diverse, more inclusive, more tolerant.
I'm T.
I'm Emmy.
I'm Justine.
I want to see people fucking on a float.
I want to see some dick.
Yeah, exactly. I just want
Get your dick out.
If there is not, like, wall-to-wall sex down Queen Street, I don't want to have any of it.
I just want, like, nice, wholesome things. Like last night...
No,
sure.
It's already nice and wholesome. It's
No, it's
so
not wholesome.
boring.
It's an ad. Ads aren't wholesome. They're fake wholesome.
I want to see an old man getting his mouth pissed in, or else it's not a fucking pride parade.
Exactly. There was a water sports association. I want to see them fucking pissing on each other.
Auckland's Pride Parade is facing a major backlash over its refusal to let police march in uniform.
But we fucking did it. There's not going to be cops in Pride this year.
Yeah.
When I heard the news, like Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah played in my mind. It was beautiful.
It was so
serene.
fucking funny.
Yeah.
What do you reckon about this issue of the police participating in uniform? You're opposed to them doing so. Why is that? Lay that out for us firstly.
I'm so fucking gratified because, like, on a political level, of course, I am opposed to the existence of the police. They are the enforcers of the bourgeoisie. They're the army of the rich and the enemy of the poor. But just on a purely personal level, every cop who has been involved in this issue has been the most aggravating piece of shit person I've ever met, and I am so glad to see them headed this out.
The parade's organising committee has told police they're not welcome to march in uniform.
And then what happened as a response is the New Zealand police absolutely shat their pants.
Fucking crybaby.
And they put out a statement, they talked to some reporters and they said, well, we're just pulling out of the parade entirely. And we were like, yes!
Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out the door.
So good.
Oh my
Get the
god.
fuck
Cry,
out.
cry, cry.
I'm so glad you're a tantrumy little bitch.
You may recognise this master's student, Justine Rose. She encouraged Lord not to play Israel. Today, she's talking us through a new world where it's not a matter of being politically correct, but correct, and many people will have to catch up.
The people are still going to be thinking this stuff is okay. So it's about patience and being like, look, I'm going to explain, I'm going to educate. But at the same time, we do call it out because that's how we make change. And I think people are saying we're ready for a change. We're ready for New Zealand to be more diverse, more inclusive, more tolerant. Like, I will be at the Pride Parade being gay and hating cops.
Yeah.
And that is going to be validated by the Pride Board. So yes.
It's not the first time Emily Rakate has gone head-to-head with the police over this issue.
3 people from our organisation disrupted the parade.
We went to Ponsonby Road where the parade was and jumped over the barriers and had our banner which said no pride in prisons, and we tried to stop the cops from marching, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
It was, so we've done yeah.
And basically, people weren't very happy with us after that, including the Pride Board. They actually reacted, even in the media, very, very badly.
There was a lot of criticism that we were dividing the community.
Yeah.
Which I just think is so, like, dishonest and kind of, like, morally repugnant in the sense of, like, the community is divided.
And here things came to a halt. The floats didn't move for at least 45 minutes.
It's not your parade! It's not your parade!
We relocated our cameras to the Western Park end of Ponsonby Road and found the reason why. A group known as No Pride in Prisons had interrupted the parade several times. When our cameras got there, the police were holding them back. However, a short time later, they had blocked the road again, but were eventually escorted off the street. They were protesting the inclusion of police and corrections staff in the parade. It's the 3rd year police have marched, and this time they brought their smallest squad car, police dogs, and of course horses.
We do have an obligation to resist what we know is violence, and yeah.
Another option is to use violence to physically shut them down, so black bloc tactics, turn up to fascist gatherings and beat the shit out of them.
Auckland Pride Parade is basically usually an ad for the army, and then an ad for the police, then an ad for alcohol companies, then just ads for random businesses, and then Rainbow Youth, and then a few more ads, and then it's over.
Gay.
Yeah, it's like, it's always really random. And besides the military and the police, which are obviously really shitty, it's like Gary's Plumbing Company.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Small businesses.
I hate them more than big businesses.
I hate small businesses are the most, like, have you ever met a small business owner?
Yeah.
They're little Nazis. Yeah, I think, like, one thing we want to stress is that we fucking hate small businesses.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck every small business owner. Oh, I just made a death threat today. It's my turn.
We're ready for New Zealand to be more diverse, more inclusive, more tolerant.
But fuck every small business owner, and fuck anyone who's like, when you look after small Kiwi businesses. Fuck small Kiwi businesses. Fuck every single business that ever existed, that ever will exist. Hopefully there won't be any more if I have anything to do with it.
So we showed up into direct action, everyone was like, that was absolutely unacceptable. Let me speak to your manager. Unfortunately, the manager of the Central Committee of Communists, so it went nowhere. But then we showed up to a community meeting and said, hello, I've got some statistics from the police and I'd like to talk about police brutality. And that was also, unacceptable, too radical, too rebel-rousing. It's like, maybe it doesn't matter what we fucking do, they just don't want us to do anything.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And it's kind of interesting as well, is that, like, we do care about the police involvement in the Pride Parade and corrections involvement in the Pride Parade, but that hasn't been our primary source of activity for a really, really long time. And I do want to talk about that some more, because this whole Pride discussion has been extremely time consuming and extremely exhausting. Emmy's done so many fucking media interviews where, we've been pushing a campaign to abolish solitary confinement in New Zealand prisons over nearly a year now, and we haven't got nearly as much media attention as we did for this Pride question. And I think that's, like, in terms of how we turn this into a socialist question, is that we don't. There's certain arguments that we can make around Pride which are useful and which are helpful for building socialism, and there are certain arguments we can make which aren't. And I think that it's really important that in order to build our power, we don't make arguments which effectively are going to, in the long run, reinforce the power of the bourgeois state, reinforce the ability of the police to beat up people. For me,
or are overly particular.
Yeah, definitely. Which don't have a broader vision of
a universal kind of critique of power, right?
Definitely, or of police brutality generally, and the endemic role that it plays in terms of maintaining the power of the bourgeois class. People who have experienced police violence, or from communities that have experienced police violence, don't feel safe, or they feel triggered by the presence of police in uniform, and that by not being in uniform itself is going to prevent that triggering, or prevent that feeling of unsafety. And I really, really think that's not a useful mode of arguing. I think that it's useful for talking to people who already use this language of liberal identity politics around triggering and around safety. But it, to me, sounds incredibly naive to say people feel unsafe because of, just the police being in uniform. And that's a reason not to involve them, because at times we do feel uncomfortable, and people do experience really legitimate violence at the hands of the police, and having it about feelings in that way, I don't think is useful for convincing people who otherwise see the police as a really great organisation. Our arguments should primarily be about the actual violence,
what the police do, the function of the police.
If the conversation is about how the police make you feel, well, these fucking psychos don't have to care about how you feel, right? But the
facts don't care about your feelings.
But this has nothing to do with feelings. It has to do with the Pride Parade institutionally supporting an organisation like the cops, who objectively are fucking white supremacist terrorists. And this has nothing to do with feelings. It has to do with political power.
Unlike the corporatized, gentrified street of Ponsonby, we have retaken the street and we're going to start the real Pride March. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We know what we're fighting for.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Abolishing the prison state.
What do we say to these cops and all the cops who are marching in our parade who commit untold violence against Māori and other marginalised people.
1, 2, 3, 4! We know what we're fighting for! 5, 6, 7, 8! Abolishing the prison state!
1, 2, 3, 4!
We know what we're fighting for!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Abolishing the prison state!
It's not your parade!
It's not your parade! It's not your parade! It's not your parade! It's not your parade! Police stop violence! We won't be silent! Police stop violence! We won't be silent! Let us in! 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 It's not your parade! It's not your parade! It's not your parade! It's not your parade!
The Auckland Pride Parade will go ahead, but it may be more of a protest than a celebration. Hundreds of Auckland Pride Parade members expressed confidence in the board last night. A lot of people appear to have acquired voting rights within a short time frame.
The people against Prisons Aotearoa people and some of their union friends, yes, stacked up the membership in the short time they had between the calling of the letter, the challenge to the board, and the SGM being scheduled, and that gave a 48-hour, 72-hour period for new memberships to be signed up by the dozens and dozens, in fact by the hundreds.
And it is a small, ferocious group of people that have made this decision on behalf of a community that doesn't necessarily support it, what is now a not-so-inclusive Pride Parade.
And fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck the police, fuck the previous iterations of the Pride Board.
Yeah.
Fuck the Department of Corrections.
Fuck prisons.
Yep.
Special shout out to like the lame ass gays who are like who made a Facebook page to like complain and boycott the Pride Parade because the fucking cops can't aren't in it. You guys are bootlickers. You suck ass. Like fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
Gresham Bradley was a founder of the Auckland Parade.
The older generation, the ones who've been through the battles, the one who fought through the AIDS crisis, the ones who fought for homosexual law reform and marriage reform and all of those things. We're the ones who did all that fighting, and we wanted a pride that celebrates. They want a pride that is all about protest.
New Zealand's first transgender MP, Georgina Beyer, is disgusted by the move to stop the cops.
A very disappointing decision, in my view, quite retrograde after all the work that has been done over many years to build bridges.
We have built bridges over the last 30 years at least, anyhow, with people of authority such as the police, the Army, Defence Force, etc. I can recall sitting at a select committee, the Law and Order Select Committee in Parliament when I was an MP, and the then Commissioner of Police, can't quite remember who it is, it might have been Howard Broad, I may stand to be corrected there, but I can remember that man being grilled for allowing uniformed police, particularly the out gay police who were in there, and defending the fact that he stood by his decision to allow them to wear a uniform in that parade. Now, if that isn't coming from the top, bridge building I'm talking about, then I don't know what is. I also know of people, transgender people, who have transitioned while they have been in the police. So come on, people in Auckland. Get over yourselves, for heaven's sake. We can't wallow in our victimhood forever. And believe me, I know what victimhood is about, especially from the police way back in the bad old days. Now, we've got to move forward and we've got to build these bridges, and I believe that this kind of decision is destructive.
We don't think queer people are should be a singular, like, homogeneous political entity, you know, that only has radical opinions. We know that's not the case. It's okay, we can have a conversation. Special shout out to, like, the lame ass gays. You guys are bootlickers, you suck ass, like, fuck you.
Auckland's Pride Parade is no more. Organisers have decided to hold a walk instead.
All that glitz and glamour, it's a visual spectacle. At New Zealand's biggest event celebrating equality, that this year has been dealt a devastating blow. Instead, they've come up with this.
The first ever Pride March this year, and we're sort of in the process of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and so we can showcase our pride.
The decision to replace the parade with a walk follows 3 turbulent months for organisers. In November, it banned uniformed police, then the backlash followed. Almost all of its corporate sponsors withdrew support. The parade's plans were then paused, pending a vote of support from members that they got. The latest development continues to bitterly divide the community.
But we fucking did it. There's not going to be cops in Pride this year.
When I heard the news, Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah played in my mind. It was beautiful.
It was so
serene.
fucking funny.
Yeah.
There'll be a different look on the streets this year. The extravaganza that's usually on show, a thing of the past, at least for now. And the ironic twist is that while this is the outcome of banning uniformed police at the Pride Parade, the board now needs police to help escort them through traffic.
I suppose you could say it's